Hello, I'm Ashton Hackman, and this is Homestead. On today's episode, I'll bring you the story over girls basketball coach Rod Parker and his daughter, senior guard Riley Parker, opening up about how Coach Parker's battle with cancer in the middle of the season brought this year's girls basketball team closer together as they gear up for the postseason. With over 30% of Homestead's student body eligible to vote in the presidential election this coming November, reporter Alex Peters tells you about the importance of voting and shows you how our two after-school political clubs are joining forces to get as many eligible students registered before they even graduate high school. There are daily tasks and duties that our Homestead students within the special education department partake in each day to help them transition into the workforce after school. You'll learn about everything these students get to do on a daily basis in a story created by Hadley Mertz. The city of Fort Wayne's oldest restaurant is still one of its most popular eateries as well. Reporter Andre Sentlever will get your taste buds jumping as he takes us inside Coney Island, the downtown hot dog stand that serves thousands of customers each and every day, the same way they did over 100 years ago. We'll bring you those stories as well as the fact of the week today on This is Homestead. We open today's This is Homestead with a story over girls basketball coach Rod Parker's mid-season scare of his kidney cancer diagnosis and being forced to take a leave of absence for surgery to remove a tumor, and his ultimate comeback to lead the current number 2 ranked girls basketball team as they get ready for another deep postseason run. But it's not just a story of Coach Parker's resilience, not when his daughter is also one of the star players this year. Learn how the Parkers dealt with the ordeal and how basketball ultimately helped the recovery process. On a cold, dreary day in November, as the trees shed what is left of its leaves and the sunny blue skies are replaced by gray clouds and bone-chilling wind, there is a familiar sound that resonates throughout the state of Indiana. At Homestead High School in Fort Wayne, Indiana, those sounds not only mark the beginning of basketball season, but also the beginning of something that the community has been able to hang its hat on the last 10 years, the state of Indiana's most successful boys and girls high school basketball programs. But it wasn't always that successful.
Back 17, 18, 19 years ago, we weren't very good. The program I took over wasn't very good as far as a win-loss record. And I think a lot of people just kind of expected us, just to be average every year. And now we're kind of expected to be pretty good every year, which is great, and we love that. And communities and people they like to support hard work and teams that go out and that are competitive. And I think that we've been able to field a team that is competitive, works hard, and is fun to watch. And so therefore, I think the community's kind of rallied behind us, quite a bit the last 7 to 10 years.
In his 19th season at Homestead, Coach Rod Parker was looking to lead the Lady Spartans for a deep run in the postseason.
We really needed to focus on 6 championships. Is always what we're going for. Conference, the holiday tournament, and then sectionals, regionals, semi-state, and state. And we really had aspirations. We have aspirations of going as far as we can. And day 1 practice, we knew that we needed to work hard every practice to get to postseason. I know we're there soon, but we have goals.
6 games into the 2019 season, the Homestead Lady Spartans were off to a dominating and undefeated start, until unfortunate news spread to affect the entire team.
It was a lot. It came really fast, but my family really took it as the new normal. We really knew that he is a fighter. He is one of the strongest people I know, and actually, until he was diagnosed with cancer, he has never been sick.
When I received the news that day, I don't know, it was a shocker. I don't know how really even to express it other than my heart just sank. Cancer is unfortunately something that impacts so many people. You never kind of think it's going to be you, and especially at age 48. It was definitely a tough day.
With the life-changing diagnosis, the time came for Coach Rod Parker to tell his team the difficult news.
I came and I coached, practice. At the end of practice then, I called him into a room and we kind of sat down and I explained my situation. And there were emotions on both sides there, definitely. And I said, this is just one of those opportunities to get stronger.
They have a good relationship with my father as well. They're my family and they really were able to be there for me through it all.
Soon thereafter, Coach Parker would go into the operating room for the lengthy and invasive surgery to remove his cancer. In pain and recovering, Parker turned to the one thing he loves most, basketball.
This is a chapter of my life that I want to put behind me. It is what it is, and we're trying to move forward the best we can. There's so much to gain from being with teammates. The strength, the character, the camaraderie, and so on, the trust.
I never really think about not having your coach or your father for your final year. It's going to be really bittersweet for me. Just an amazing feeling, just having my rock there with me.
After being out for more than 5 weeks with treatment, the night had finally come for Parker to make his appearance once again on the court as head coach, just in time to finish the regular season.
A few things. Number one, feels good to be back. Value every possession out there today, okay? Let's get it done.
Let's
Switch up.
go.
Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
I think it wakes you up because most of us, naturally, we take things for granted. And probably the one thing we take for granted the most is our health. It really slows you down. It makes you reflect a little bit.
But for now, the journey continues as the most dominant basketball program in the state chases after the postseason. Today, Iowa becomes the first state in the nation to begin voting in the national primary to select the 2020 presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. With the upcoming election in November, Alex Peters reports on the importance of voting and takes a look at how 2 of Homestead's after-school political clubs are joining forces to get every eligible Homestead student registered to vote.
Throughout recent U.S. history, the voting rates of young adults to age 18 through 29 have been among the lowest recorded out of all age demographics, averaging 20 to 30 percentage points lower than older voters. This wasn't always the case, however. In 1972, the first year 18 and 20-year-olds were eligible to vote. Turnout among the 18 through 29-year-old age demographic was at 55%. Ever since, voting rates among these younger voters have been on a steady decline, reaching only 16% in 2014. According to Nathan Bowling, a government teacher at Lincoln High School, 2016 National Teacher of the Year finalist, and host of the Nerd Farmer podcast on civics, education, and culture, this lack of young voters can be attributed to a lack of civics education, as well as more deep-rooted issues.
And so essentially, a lot of civics classes have been pushed to the side in order to offer students additional support in math and reading. And not that math and reading aren't important, but our civics and our democracy matters a lot to me. Well, I think it's kind of a two-sided problem. On one side, people turn out to vote when they have something either to gain or something to lose. And politics in America today doesn't really have a lot to offer young people right now. On the other side of the equation, you have a situation where states that know that young people tend to be liberal voters are actually making it harder for them to vote. So I think about like Iowa made it basically impossible for college students who were in Iowa to vote as Iowa residents and instead made them vote for their home states. And so it's a kind of two-sided thing. Like we're not offering students and young people a lot politically, and then we're making it more difficult for them to vote in many states.
Homestead government teacher Mr. Bile agrees that the downtrend of young voters is caused by a lack of education and understanding.
Part of just the idea that less young people vote has more to do with just lack of understanding or lack of real idea of what getting involved in the government means and why you should care about those who are elected. I think a lot of young people feel it doesn't affect their lives.
So, what exactly can we do to fix this issue? Well, that's a pretty tough question, and if it were an easy solution, we would have already figured it out. However, there are small changes we can make, and Homestead students and faculty are working to make these small changes happen. In Homestead's government classes, teachers ensure that all students develop the foundation they need to understand voting and their civic duty to do so.
In my government courses, we every semester we'll look into voting and election, just kind of how the process works. We try to help students understand the values of citizenship and the important things like voting, which is one of those major elements of citizenship, of getting involved.
After-school clubs at Homestead are also making sure eligible students get out to vote by offering opportunities to register to vote and learn about the upcoming elections.
Yeah, we have several politically active groups here at the school who I know have made an effort to try to get students registered to vote in the past. Voter registration these days is very easy. It was not always the case in our country's history where voter registration was this easy, but you can go online as long as you have a state-issued ID and you're 18 years old, or will be 18 by the next general election. You can go online and get registered. So I know the Young Americans for Freedom Club, YAF, and the Young Progressive Club have both attempted to get people registered to vote in the past. They've worked together collectively, even though they have differing opinions on a lot of political issues. They've banded together to try to encourage people to get more civically active and get people registered to vote. So I know they have voter registration drives and just showing people the resources to get registered to vote. It's simple as going to a website and entering a little bit of information, and 2 minutes later you can be registered to vote and prepared, at least prepared to vote. Now the next step is becoming an informed voter and figuring out what it is you believe and how your values might influence your vote.
There are many ways Homestead is working to reverse this downtrend in young voters, but they can't do it alone. A widespread reform in the way teens are taught about voting in government needs to change, and states need to ensure registering to vote for young adults is as easy as possible. Without these changes, this generation, which is more politically charged than ever, will struggle to make an impact on U.S. politics that they're capable of. If you'll be 18 by November 3rd, 2020, you're eligible to register to vote right now. By registering, you'll be able to vote in both the primary and general elections. The easiest way to register if you're eligible is to go to indianavoters.in.gov and follow the instructions. Make sure to do your civic duty and get out to vote. I'm Alex Peters.
Special needs students at Homestead get the opportunity each day to do daily tasks to help them begin transitioning to the workforce. Reporter Hadley Mertz brings you a piece on what tasks and jobs these students partake in while attending Homestead High School.
My name's Chris Kirby. I'm a special ed teacher here at Homestead High School. Students at Homestead High School have an opportunity to explore different occupations and earn vocational experience in one of two ways. The first way is through in-school jobs. Students in this class complete jobs within the Homestead building. Some of the jobs they do include they distribute and sort the mail to mailboxes. We've done some jobs for athletics where they sort, staple, and collate folders of information for parents. We've done a variety of jobs for the Franciscan thrift store as well. Another opportunity that students have is during their junior and senior year, they can participate in vocational experiences off campus. During the morning, they have academic classes, and then in the afternoon, they're transported to a job site with a job coach where they get real-life experience on what it is to be a worker. The best way for students at Homestead to get involved and to help out is to encourage as they see the students participating in these jobs. Acknowledge that they're doing a good job and that you notice that they're working hard. That's the best way you can help. These jobs help these students earn real-world working experience. After they leave Homestead High School, they're going to need to get a job and work toward being independent adults. This gives them experience within a job setting, outside in the community, with the support of a job coach to help them learn the skills they need. It's really super exciting that the businesses in this community are partnering with us to provide these opportunities for students. I think the most important outcome from all of this, in addition to the experience that it provides for the students, is the message that it provides to the community. These students have many abilities and can be a great contributing part of society.
For more than 100 years, Coney Island in downtown Fort Wayne has been serving up hot dogs to eager customers from all over. Located in the same building since 1916, reporter Andre Sentliver brings you a story on the famous hot dog stand with a little side of nostalgia.
Everybody we talked to, our realtor and everyone, said you must go to Fort Wayne Coney's. It's the local spot. You've got to know it.
Coney Island is a wonderful staple here in Fort Wayne, known for its Coney's chili and steamed buns, as well as its interesting history.
So how much does this company mean to you?
This company means it's almost like a wife, like a family. I've been here since I was 15 years old, and most of my family had worked here. My dad had worked here, all of his brothers, and then 9 of my mom's brothers had worked here. So I grew up with the place, and it's pretty much part of my life.
Is this something that runs in the family?
It is. As far as my partner, Her grandpa bought it in 1916, and then a long line of them worked here, and then my wife works in the office, my brother works in the office, and then I have 3 boys that work here. I have a manager, and then a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old.
My grandfather was an immigrant, and you know, he didn't have the education, the business degree, but he had the sense of welcoming and hospitality, and he loved to cook. So having high standards in the food he prepared was very important. And it just continues that way. This is what the Coney Island is about.
You know, it means a lot. My dad is actually the owner. He's been here for 27 years now. Worked at 15 and started from the kitchen and worked his way up. And then I've been here since I was 15 and trying to do the same thing.
For 106 years, Coney Island has barely changed anything on their menu and limit adding specific items. This idea tends to bring a sense of nostalgia to the customers, establishing this company to be around for many years to come.
You know, it's been a simple menu since we opened. There's no reason to add anything. There's no reason to change anything. You know, people ask us all the time why we don't have French fries, but we don't have room for a fryer, so it's kind of hard to make room for that stuff.
You know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Our Coney Island has not changed the menu since before me, and I've been here 33 years. And if I had to guess, it's probably been 50 years since we've changed anything on the menu. So people know what to expect, people come, and we try to keep it that way.
Breaking records up to 5,000 Coney dogs sold each day, this company, originally located on Calhoun Street in 1912, contains an excellent assortment of toppings, which keep people coming back for more.
We average, on an average day, we do about 2,000 hot dogs a day. Although during the Christmas season, we can easily do a lot more than that.
Typically we sell between 2,000 to 3,000 a day. Closer to Christmas time, it's probably double that.
Okay, and then do you get a lot of visitors from outside of the state?
Yeah, absolutely. West Coast to East Coast, all the time. People are coming in for business things, or you know, they have family here, so it just depends.
Although Coney Island has not changed much, we know that before the dining tables, these were in fact school desks. The workers' outfits have changed as well as the ceiling fixtures, and the refrigerator was an icebox converted in 1928.
As Fort Wayne downtown has been revitalized, and Coney Island has become kind of a fixture, we've been kind of making a name for ourselves. We are the oldest hot dog stand in America.
That brings us to the end of This is Homestead. Before we go, here is this week's Fact of the Week. With the new Homestead High School building set to open in the year 2024, did you know in 1970, when the original Homestead High School opened, it had 177,000 square feet. The new building project includes a total of 715,000 square feet, over 4 times the size of the original school building. For our entire HHS Media team, I'm Ashton Ackman. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next This is Homestead.